The 110th mayor of the great city of New York, Mayor Eric Adams.
One of my favorite radio shows. Always good speaking with you, Zev. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks for joining us.
You just listening?
Talkline Network Radio, America's longest-running Jewish broadcast network, the voice of the Jewish community.
Welcome to the podcast. You are now tuned in to this episode of our podcast. Today, we are going to interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in our field. And now, please welcome your host.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
Welcome back to the program. Zev Brenner with us. Once again, it's Elana Silber. She's the CEO of Sharsheret. They're an organization whose mission is to improve the lives of Jewish women and families living with or increased genetic risk for breast or ovarian cancer. Welcome back to the program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm hoping that this becomes an annual event for me.
I think we're doing it at least once. We should do it more because the truth is that breast cancer, ovarian cancer numbers are growing, and it affects especially Jewish women, not limited, of course, but it affects especially women that are coming from Ashkenazic Jewish background, even though I think that might be changing. So tell us about that and tell us about the organization, because you've been around for quite a number of years. And really, unfortunately, I think you're growing every year because more people need your services.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, breast cancer and ovarian cancer are diseases that are plaguing the Jewish community. And like you said, there are obviously 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. 1 in 72 will be diagnosed with ovarian cancer. But the Jewish community is hard hit in that 1 in 40 Jews of Ashkenazi descent, that's both men and women, carries a BRCA, a BRCA gene mutation. So that's 10 times the greater risk of the general population. So if you're a woman who carries this mutation, you have up to an 85% chance of developing breast cancer and maybe up to a 65% chance of developing ovarian cancer. And this is very, very high risk. That being said, the medical community has had many advancements, and there are things we can do today to protect our health. And so that's why we're out there trying to educate the community about the statistics so we can take control of the situation to best that we can.
So how do you do that? What does Sharsheret do on a day-to-day basis?
So Sharsheret basically does 3 main things. The first thing that we do is we educate the broader community about their risk for breast cancer and ovarian cancer and these genetic mutations. And we educate starting on college campuses, in synagogues, anywhere where people hear on the radio, online, social media, raising awareness about these statistics and then the measures you can take to protect your health. So if you find out that you're at increased risk because you have a genetic mutation, there are prophylactic surgeries, there's increased surveillance, and we have a genetic counselor on staff who can guide you. And we have a whole medical advisory board that provides guidance on what the recommendations are for screening. So that's the first thing, educating the broader community, everyone who's healthy and those people who are at risk and those people living with cancer. We have life-saving information. The second thing Sharsheret does is provides one-on-one support to women, men, and families directly affected by cancer or the genetics. So we have 13 social workers or 15 social workers who are answering basically a hotline to answer big questions, small questions. You're going to the doctor. What do you ask? You want to deal with what you're going through. You don't know how to tell your spouse, your partner, your kids will help you deal with that. You're worried about going for your screening. You're worried about your family, how they're going to manage everything. Sharsheret social workers are there. You want to talk to someone who used your doctor. What kind of doctor am I using? What's it like to go to her? And we can match women one-on-one to speak to each other. And the third thing we do is we know a lot of families are hard hit financially, especially post-pandemic, and we're giving away financial subsidies for emergency relief, like car repairs, so women can get to their appointments, to things like cold capping and tattooing that is not covered by healthcare. And we're probably going to give out about $1 million this year.
Wow. Where do you get the money from?
From incredibly supportive community members and some family foundations. We also have one grant from the UJA Federation of New York. We have a partner in Los Angeles called the Change Reaction, and then individual donors are supporting this effort.
Yeah, that's a major thing that you're doing. Now, we live in a world where And you said this affects mostly Ashkenazi women, but I would assume with intermarriage within Ashkenazi married Sephardic, maybe the numbers are changing with Sephardic women. And I'm curious to know, you also hear from non-Jews that discover that they have the Ashkenazi Jewish gene.
Right. So first of all, while Sharsheret is an organization that is for Jewish women and families, we are also helping those who are not Jewish. Anyone who reaches out to Sharsheret gets support and is welcome to join any programs. But what we're finding, interestingly enough, is because the access to genetic testing has been made much easier over the last few years, women who may never have known that they have Jewish ancestry and men are now finding out that they have Jewish ancestry, and they are calling Sharsheret to manage these results and to understand what it means for them. So it's an incredible result that we never anticipated, that these are people that now identify as Jewish, and Sharsheret is here to help them.
So you have a situation where you have non-Jewish women discover that they have a Jewish ancestry because they went for a breast cancer screening and discover they have the gene, which makes them connected to the Jewish people.
Yeah, yeah.
Fascinating.
And then there are those that are not Jewish, and that's okay too. And we're happy to help everyone as long as they're comfortable coming to a Jewish organization. You know, we want to help everybody.
Now, what about Sephardic women?
So right now, we don't have the epidemiology. They haven't done the testing on women of Sephardic descent. In America, we have many more Ashkenazi Jewish women. So the statistics show the 1 in 40. But we are seeing, and we do have people calling us who are Sephardic, who have the BRCA mutation. Many of them are, like you said, from families where one parent is Ashkenaz and one parent is Sephardic. So by bringing these two groups together, we're actually sharing the genetic mutation beyond the Ashkenazi Jewish community. And we are serving a good number of Sephardic women who are diagnosed, and also those who are carrying a mutation.
Now, you said there are no statistics for American Sephardic women. I'm curious to know, Israel has a very large Sephardic population. Is there any data from Israel that will help you here in the States?
So I know they are currently doing studies, but right now we don't have any statistic that we can use. But we know that there is a lot of effort to educate this community. I went actually to Deal a couple of summers ago. We had an event, and we didn't think we were going to talk about genetics because it drew mostly a crowd of women who were from Syrian ancestry. And ultimately, the conversation turned to genetics, and they were waiting online to ask questions about genetics. So it's a very hot topic in the Jewish community, not only in the Ashkenazic, but also in the Sephardic community, because when you find out that you have a genetic mutation, it doesn't just affect you, it affects others in your family. It affects your siblings, your cousins, your children, your parents. And it also is an issue for men, because men who carry the genetic mutation have increased risk for pancreatic cancer, melanoma, male breast cancer, and prostate cancer. People don't even associate that prostate cancer could be affecting your risk for breast cancer. So we are encouraging everyone, learn your family history, find out, did you have a parent or a grandparent, a man? Find out the male cancers too, because those could also be indicators that you could be at increased risk for those cancers and for breast and ovarian cancer.
Now, I would tend to say that Sharsheret is probably perceived to be an organization for women. From what you're saying, it seems that men should also be more, well, but they should be more taken care of, maybe more awareness, more education. Let's look at the male aspect.
Yeah, so that is definitely true. Sharsheret is an organization that was started by women, run by women, which is unique in the Jewish community. And it's a very strong and growing organization. That being said, men are definitely affected in multiple ways. They carry these genetic mutations. They can pass on these mutations to their sons and their daughters, and they are at increased risk for cancer. So we know that what we've been told is that men tend to not be as vigilant about their health as women, which in my case, my husband is very vigilant about his health. So he might
because he's married to you. You're on top of the situation.
I don't know. I think he's better than I am. But men are not being educated in the same numbers as women. So we're getting so much attention around breast cancer and ovarian cancer. We are now sharing intentionally with men, and we have men educating men about them. We have resources specifically for men. We have men who reach out to our genetic counselor and our mental health professionals for their own help. And we do webinars. We have a men's leadership council that's leading the way so other men can benefit from Sharsheret.
So does that mean there'll be a separate men's division, or?
it's not a separate division, but an effort to encourage men to join. I mean, events now are drawing a lot more men. These webinars are targeting men. The Men's Leadership Council is out there and serving as ambassadors for Sharsheret to educate the community and to encourage men to get more involved and use Sharsheret when they need us.
How has COVID affected at all your organization's work?
So interestingly enough, COVID itself didn't affect the delivery of Sharsheret services. We were able to continue to provide the support, the education, and the financial assistance remotely because we've always done that. So for the patient population, that hasn't changed from Sharsheret's end. What has changed is that we know that during COVID, people were pushing off their doctor's appointments initially because they couldn't go out to go to the doctor. And then life gets busy and you forget that you didn't go for your annual screening. So women may have missed a year or two of mammograms, which is still the gold standard for screening for breast cancer. So women may be diagnosed in greater numbers and at later stages of cancer. So one of the messages we want to send out, and we continue post-pandemic, is make your appointments, don't delay. Knowledge is power, and early detection saves lives. So if you haven't scheduled your annual screening, men or women, now is the time to make sure you schedule it. And also, many people were affected financially. We've seen the economy go up and down and certain jobs be eliminated and certain opportunities. So families are financially strapped and cancer is expensive. So Sharsheret steps in to help out.
Helps out just in the case of breast and ovarian cancer or other cancers as well?
Right now, breast and ovarian cancer. I mean, look, there's never enough money. And if someone came to me, and that's the people that reach out to us, and we have the access to those women. But if, I'm out there pitching, there's never enough money. So if somebody would like to support that effort, we are here and we can put it to good use immediately. The line grows and grows.
And of course, every summer you have barbecues in different areas in the 5 towns and in New Jersey, and people that come out to support what you are doing. So how can people learn more and how can people support your efforts?
Okay, so the first thing is definitely check us out online. We are sharsheret.org, and also on social media. On Instagram, we're Sharsheret Official. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. So connect with us. We are constantly updating the website and also our social media. In addition to that, Sharsheret runs about 40 to 60 Zoom webinars a year on all different educational topics. So as soon as you connect with Sharsheret and you get on our email list, you will know about all upcoming events. And on our website, all of our events and all of our programs are free of charge. So that's how they can connect with us. To support us, first of all, if you're in the 5 towns or you're in New Jersey in the next 2 days, July 19th and July 20th, we are having our largest fundraisers, but they are also educational pieces. At every event, we always educate the community about the statistics, and we also share stories from real people who have gone through the cancer experience, whether before, during, or after, and people are learning from that. So I encourage you to join the events. And if you can't come to the events, you can access them later on tape. And make a donation. And we're seeing people donate directly to the website. There are people that sharsheret.org. There are other people that are doing small fundraisers in their community. There are challah bakes in support of Sharsheret. It combines fundraising and education. And we're doing lots of that. And we have a summit. We have an educational summit coming up in October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, where we will bring in the latest topics. There will be Zoom opportunities and in-person opportunities all across the country.
Elana Silber, CEO of Sharsheret, thank you for the wonderful work that you're doing. And I know, unfortunately, you have more and more people need your services every year, but continued success. And yes, God willing, you are an annual event, at least once a year.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And if you want to promote the events, if people want to come, we still have a couple of seats left, and we'd be happy to
where do people, let's give out a web address and a phone number, people who want to come.
So sharsheret.org, sharsheret.org. Or you can call 866-474-2774, which is, I think, 866, I think it's 4-Sharsh or something. It's, 474, it's like 4-Sharsh or something like that. But 866-474-2774, and call us today. And if you can't make it this week and you can make a donation, we appreciate it. And there will be more events coming up in the next few months where you can learn more about your risk and what you can do to protect your health and the next generation.
Elana, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to
Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast, the pulse beat of the Jewish community.
For continuous Jewish programs, TalklineNetwork.com, or our 24-hour-a-day listen line at 641-741-0389. For past shows, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Instagram, and all major podcast platforms, or jewishpodcast.org. Thanks for listening to the TalklineNetwork.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Terrific. Thank you.